Alright guys, Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. What I've got here is an Iron Maiden dream setlist for their upcoming tour, the Run For Your Lives tour. So let's just hop into it. If I remember to do this, I'll pop a link to this tier maker that I've got here. Just figured that would be the easiest way to do it. My plan is basically anything in the top tier are songs I like that I've never heard before. Next tier are going to be like songs I quite like that I've not heard live before. And the third tier will be songs that I like but I've seen live before. Now, bearing in mind, there are songs I've heard them do, like Drifter, but that was about 20 years ago on their early days tour. So I figure out what my dream setlist would be, and I'm just going to admit it now, I like No Prayer for the Dying. It's the first Maiden album I bought. So you guys are probably going to hate the setlist. So do let me know how very wrong I am and pop your own setlist, your own dream setlist down in the comments. So I'm going to go through it album by album, as this lovely person who's created this tier list has done. So Remember Tomorrow is the one that jumps out at me from the first album, because like with the first album I'm also thinking about I prefer Paul Di'Anno's voice on those first two, but there's some songs that Bruce does really well. Remember Tomorrow is one of them for me. I think they played it on the early days tour, but I do really like that as a song, so I'm going to pop up there. Apparently it was about Paul's either dad or granddad being a fighter pilot in the World War, which when you listen to the lyrics kind of gives it an extra kind of eerie credence. I do really like, well this, I mean it's Iron Maiden, so I like most of the songs, so I'm going to have to be brutal here. Right, in fact I'm just going to tier all of them, right, and then I can come back and sort it out as we go. Prowler, well, have I heard, I don't know if I've heard that one before, but I do quite like it. Sanctuary, I'm not too bothered about that, I'll pop it down here. Running Free, I'll pop there. Phantom of the Opera, I'm sure I've heard it live before, but it's a great song. Transylvania, that's one I would really like to hear. Strange World, it's a bit of a weird song, but it's really quite cool. So Charlotte Harlot's a weird one because that's kind of daft, but just for the novelty of hearing it, that would also be quite fun. This is going to be impossible to do. So Iron Maiden, not the strongest song in their catalogue, but it might feel weird if they don't finish with it. Let's put it there. Okay, so this goes straight into my my A list. It's Ides of March. Now, my caveat here is that I don't want it through the PA. I want them to actually play the song because I think that'd be badass. I think it's a really cool tune. I'd love to hear it actually played live. I've not seen them live with the new drummer as well, so that might change things a bit too. Because the Clive Burr, the first three albums, I do tend to prefer the way Clive played the drums to the way Nico would do them. Nico does a much more like metal way, but Clive has this little bounce to it. Wrathchild, really like that as a song, but I have heard it live before. Murders in the Rue Morgue, I saw that live and I'm not too bothered about that. Another Life, same sort of thing as there. Innocent, Genghis Khan would be cool. That would be cool to hear. Innocent Exile, I'll put that there. Killers, I don't know if they played this on the early days tour or not. Their Prodigal Son, it'd be cool to hear live, but it's not my favourite song. I'm going to try and stick to like 15, maybe 17 songs for what my setlist would be. Purgatory's going straight up there onto the dream. I think that's a cracking tune. I'd love to hear that live. Twilight Zone and Drifter are both pretty high as well because those are cool tunes. I think they might have played Drifter in the early days tour, again 20 years ago, I might be wrong. Invaders, I'm not too fussed to hear that live. Children of the Damned, I have heard that live before, but it is one of my kind of favourite Maiden tunes. Prisoner would be quite cool, but not as cool as Children of the Damned. So I'm going to put the tier lower. 22 Acacia Avenue, I think I've heard that one, but I do like it as a tune. Number of the Beast, it's a tune, but I've heard it a lot live, so I'm just going to put it there. Same with Run to the Hills. Gangland and Total Eclipse, I'm not too fussed about those tunes, so I'm going to pop them there. Hallowed Be Thy Name, so this is one I've heard live before, but if you're to like condense it down to what is your favourite Maiden song, that's definitely like top 5 at least, so it's going to have to go here. I can also arrange these from left to right, left being the ones I want to hear the most, but I might have to do that. Where Eagles Dare, not too fussed about that. Revelations, I think I've heard live before, but I do really like it. Flight of Icarus, I don't think I've seen them do, so that's going straight there. Die With Your Boots On, yeah, that makes sense to me. Trooper, good tune, I've heard it before live. Still Life. It's one of those kind of slightly weird Maiden songs that the more you listen to it, the more you start to kind of like it. I'm going to put it further along. This is really difficult. This is really hard. I don't envy them having to put a set list together, you know what I mean? The thing is as well, like, this is a dream set list for me, but the amount of learning they'd have to do, or like relearning songs they've not played in like 30 years, I you know, the likelihood of it happening is so slim. What else we've got? Sun and Steel, Quest for Fire to Tamerland. Sun and Steel and Quest for Fire I'm going to put here. Fun songs, not too bothered about hearing them. To Tamerland, I quite like this one because it's got like, it's almost acts as like a precursor to Power Slave. It's got the kind of heavier bits to it. Aces High, I'm gonna put there. I mean, to be fair, like Power Slave, if they just played that front to back and they're like, right, you've got 45 minutes of Iron Maiden, that's all we're doing, I'd pay the full ticket price to see that because it's just a cracking album. 2 Minutes to Midnight is probably going to go up here. Seen it before, I just like it. It's one of my favourite songs. That's cool too. I don't know if I've heard the instrumentals live, so I think that's why I'm drawn towards them so much. See, Flash, these are, yeah, so the one I'd be less bothered about is Back in the Village, so I'm going to put that there. Rhyme and Age Mariner would be really cool. I didn't catch them playing that. I think they played that somewhat recently, so I'm going to put that up there. I really like these 3 songs as well. I'm going to, okay, I'm just going to put them up for now because I would just love to hear those. I think they're bangers. So I don't particularly like the Somewhere in Time album, Come At Me. Deja Vu is an absolute belter and I would love to hear that. The rest of them I am not too bothered, particularly because they just did the Somewhere in Time tour where we saw most of these songs and it did give me a new appreciation for them. But having said that, see a man is this kind of cool. No, okay. You know what? I'm going to put Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner above. So I put Deja Vu in the wrong tier there because I think that's a pretty cool tune as well. I would like to see that. These ones can just go here, I think. Moonchild is kind of cool. It's one of the ones I think they might actually do, but I don't think I'm too fussed about saying that. Infinite Dreams went through a phase where that was one of my favourite Maiden songs, so I'm just putting that straight in. I do really like Can I Play With Madness, but I've seen them do that quite a few times. Evil That Men Do, yeah, that's going to go up. I'd really like to hear that live. Seventh Son, the way I'd stack these last ones, I mean, again, I'd quite like to hear them, but I'm not super bothered. Look, this is another album. If they just said, look, we're playing Seventh Son front to back, you're getting 45 minutes of music and that's your lot, again, I'd be like, okay, because all the songs on it are good. It's just way not what I would like to hear. I mean, they could pick anything out of here and I'm going to be happy. It's about the dream set list, I suppose. Again, No Prayer for the Dying. This is probably the one tour they wouldn't sell out if they said we're just playing it front to back and that's what we're doing. I do really like this album. My least favourite songs are the ones people tend to like. This is honestly not a hipster thing. It's just I think it's the first album I got, so I just formed my own little weird opinions. Tail Gunner, Mother Russia, and Run Silent, Run Deep. Those are the most atmospheric songs on the album by a long shot, but I just like kind of the raw punchiness of it. I'm going to put in No Prayer for the Dying into the A tier. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is going in there. I'm sorry, I just like them. I can't help it. I like Hooks in You as well. I think that's a good little jam. Holy Smoke, I do also quite like. The problem is there's some really good Dave Murray solos on this album, and there could be a few songs I know aren't that great, but then Dave busts out this brilliant solo, so I'm like, okay, it's good enough for me. I'm going to put this near the top of here. Yeah, I'm going to move these about a little bit while I'm here. Strange World would be really cool to see. So, will you let me move them? It's not letting me move it. Can I move them that way? I can, okay. And then, yeah, Killers would be cool. Can I move that along? Strange World. Oh, there's just so many. There's so many. Did I put Still? I think I'd put Still Life above Hallowed Be Thy Name, just because I've not heard it. But, yeah, Public Enemy #1. I would really like to hear that. I'm sorry. This is my one. Tell me how wrong I am. Fate's Warning, I'm going to put that in. Hooks in You, I'm going to put it just there. This is probably like the worst set list people could imagine. I've got too many songs in it as well. I'm going to have to cut them out. Assassin, I will agree. Assassin, I don't really need to hear that one. Be Quick or Be Dead and From Here to Eternity, those have actually really grown on me. I listened to that Fear of the Dark album quite a bit. I would quite like to hear those. Where did they go? After Still Life, after Hallowed Be Thy Name, probably. But then, I've never heard them though. It's the novelty of like hearing stuff you've never heard before. That's a really big pull for me. Well, the easy ones is like Judas My Guide. I know it's a cliche at this point to say like it's a great song, but it just is. So, what else would I put in? Afraid to Shoot Strangers. That would be pretty cool. I put that there. And then what else have we got? Wasting Love would be cool as well. Childhood's End, I would really like to hear that. I've got far too many in that column. Yeah, Wasting Love will put somewhere in this bit. I suppose it doesn't too matter because I've got too many songs in the first tier anyway. Let's put it around there. This is impossible to do. I suggest having a go at yourself. Fear's the Key, not too fussed about that. We'll just dump that there. Same with Fugitive. I do really like Chains of Misery. Again, this is one where it's just a really cool Dave solo. I think it's quite a cool song as well. These ones I'm not too bothered about. Fear of the Dark would be cool, but I have heard that before. I suspect they'll probably play that one. So how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 23. Right. So I've got to get rid of what, about 7 or something more than that? 8? Okay, so what ones do I really, really want to hear? Judas My Guide, that I'd love to hear that. Ides of March, provided it's live. Yep. Purgatory, I'm putting that there. I'll try and Remember Tomorrow for now. Flight of Icarus, banger. I haven't heard it live before. I think I'm just going to put the 3 instrumentals in that I've got here because, or have I just got 2 of them? Yeah, no, 3 of them because I think they're all really cool and I would really, really love to hear those if it'll let me move it. There we go. Remember Tomorrow is one of these ones that Bruce can do really, really well. 2 Minutes to Midnight, I do just really like that as a song. I'm not doing a very good job here, am I? So what can I move? Oh, this is impossible. This is so difficult. Oh, no, man. Right, so I suppose the thing to do here is basically try and organise this into the ones that I really just want to hear live. So it's probably going to be a stupid rarities hipster take on Iron Maiden. Deja Vu is going above Phantom of the Opera. I'm going to bump Remember Tomorrow down. I'm going to bump 2 Minutes to Midnight down. I'm going to put, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to go full. Yeah, I'm going to go for the ones that I haven't heard that I would really love to hear. Because that was the point of this. Child's Infinite Dreams, definitely. So I basically have until there's about 10 in a row, so I can get to what about here is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about here. Evil That Men Do. I don't think I've heard that live before, and I do really like it. Right, okay. I think that's what I'm saying. They could play any of these, particularly anything in these top two or even three tiers, looking at them, and I'd be over the moon. Yeah, I think this is my weird little hipster set list. Okay. I'm going to give myself 16 because they're not doing Alexander the Great or some of the kind of longer songs here. Yeah, okay, so that's going to go right up at the top, the Phantom of the Opera. 2 Minutes to Midnight, Power Slave, Remember Tomorrow, Child's End, Chains of Misery I put before. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. I think this is what I'd say. Now, order, starting with Ides of March, because that'd be cool. Them coming out, lights coming on. Into Flight of Icarus. I'm just doing this on the fly, so this might be a really, really dodgy set list in terms of like its flow. Let's go for an instrumental after that because I need to pad them out throughout the set. In fact, let's go for 2 instrumentals back to back. Let's do that. Then Purgatory. I want to kind of build up to Judas Be My Guide. Flash of the Blade Judas. I'd maybe swap one of these for a different song. No, I think that's fine. And then let's put Deja Vu there. No Prayer for the Dying by Genghis Khan. I'm just going by memory here. I'm not thinking about the songs too much. That one. Now let's go. It'd be two probably ones together though. Okay, let's stick you there. And then yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it doesn't ever really dip. There's not really a not intense song on there. I think that would be, I don't know the exact order, I'd need to spend a bit more time thinking about it. But Ides of March, Flight of Icarus, Lost for Words, Transylvania, Purgatory, Flash of the Blade, The Duelist, Infinite Dreams, Deja Vu, No Prayer for the Dying, sorry, Genghis Khan, Public Enemy #1, sorry, Enema #1, Rime of the Ancient Mariner. They did play that somewhat recently, but I didn't catch the tour they did it on. The Fool That I Am, Judas Be My Guide, Evil That Men Do, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. I think that would be... Yeah, I'm fairly content with that. I'd maybe swap out Flash of the Blade or Judas for like one of the top sort of 5 on that second one. So maybe Phantom of the Opera, 2 Minutes, Power Slave, Remember Tomorrow, Chains of Misery. Or Killers, actually, I'd probably move that further up. Or like Cal would be that name. I'm spoiled for choice here. This is the problem. I need 2 set lists. They need to do a Taylor Swift. They need to do like 3 three gigs back to back and just play the full discography. That's what we need. Right, so this is just a bit of fun. Maiden are one of these bands where we all have polarizing opinions, and a lot of it seems to do with like what your first album was, and secondly, what the first album was they released after you got into them. So for me, I'd bought No Prayer for the Dying because I'd heard Wrathchild, and being the young, naive child that I was, I thought I'll just buy one of their albums. That song might be on it. I didn't even think to look at the the track listing or anything like that. So that album does hold a special place for me, and I put my hands up and I know what most people don't like it as an album, so I have to accept that it probably isn't a great album, but it's one I do just like. And then that would have been probably, I don't know if they're split up or they're just getting back together. And it's like, I found this band that I really like. Oh, they're split up. Oh, they've reunited. And then Brave New World and Dance of Death would have been the albums that were released around when I got into them. Dance of Death definitely a while after. And those two are kind of high on my list as well. And you tend to see this, it tends to be with folk like, what was your first album that you bought? And what were like the first couple that they released after you got into them, and quite often that coincides. So like, someone might have got into them at around the time of Killers, and they'll like the kind of following 3 albums or whatever. Years ago, I did do an Iron Maiden albums playlist, which I'd be interested to see how I rated things, because I'd probably change it about a bit now. But if you want to shout at me for that as well, you can check out with the eye up there. If you play guitar, there's quite a lot of Iron Maiden content and some reaction stuff as well if you don't play guitar on the channel. So I'll put links to the videos floating around there somewhere. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.